This is about you. Your soulmate talked about you today, and something was said, something you are not meant to ignore. So before you scroll, just stop for a second, take a slow, deep breath, let it fill your chest, and then let it go. Because this moment right here is not random. This message did not just pop up. It did not just appear because of some algorithm. There are moments in life that are timed, and this is one of them. If you are reading this right now, it is because you have reached a point emotionally, spiritually, where you are finally ready to receive something that has been waiting for you. There is a certain energy today. You might not even be able to explain it, but you can feel it. It is heavy, but not in a bad way. It is sacred. And that energy comes from something that already happened. A conversation, a real one, but you were not there. It happened somewhere else between your soulmate and someone you have never met. And in that moment, your name came up. Not casually, not randomly, but with meaning, with weight, with emotion that could not be hidden anymore. Something was said about you. Something so personal, so real that once you truly understand it, you will not be able to see your life the same way again. But do not rush this, because what happened today is not just about words. It is about what finally broke open inside them to allow those words to come out. This is about a shift, a deep one, the kind of shift that does not just change feelings, it changes direction. And if you think about it, you have been feeling something lately too, have you not? That pull in your chest that comes out of nowhere. Those nights where you felt like someone was there even when no one was. Moments where a wave of emotion hit you and you did not even know why. Sometimes it felt warm. Sometimes it felt like sadness that did not belong to you. That was not random. That was connection. You have been feeling them. And today, they finally said it out loud. For a long time, you have been walking through life feeling like you are not fully seen. Like you are present but not truly understood. You have questioned your worth more times than you admit, wondered if the way you love is too much or maybe not enough. You have looked at your own reflection and focused on what is wrong, while completely missing the light that is actually there. And somewhere deep down, you have even asked yourself, is there really someone out there who gets me completely? While you were sitting with those thoughts, they were standing in theirs. Because today, your soulmate did not stay silent. They spoke, not in a loud, dramatic way, but in a quiet moment that carried more truth than anything they have said before. You need to understand something important about where this happened. This was not in a noisy room, not at a party, not in some casual conversation filled with distractions. No, this happened in stillness, the kind of stillness where there is nowhere to hide, where distractions fade and the truth starts rising to the surface. They were sitting with someone they trust deeply, someone who has seen them at their best and at their worst, and even that person was not prepared for what happened next. Because the moment your name came up, everything shifted. There was a pause, a real one, the kind where time almost feels like it slows down, because for months, maybe even years, they have been avoiding this, avoiding you, avoiding what they feel, convincing themselves that if they did not say your name out loud, then maybe it was not real, maybe it would fade, maybe they could move on. They thought they could outrun it, hide it under routine, under work, under everyday life. But today, that did not work anymore, because something inside them finally gave in. It started with a simple question, nothing intense, just something like, what do you actually want? Or why have you been so distant lately? A normal question. But this time they did not give a normal answer. They did not smile and brush it off. They did not change the subject. They went quiet, and in that silence they were not just thinking about you. They were feeling you. They remembered your presence, the way your energy fills a space without even trying, the way your voice stays with them even after you are gone, the way, no matter how much they tried to push you out, you stayed. And then they started speaking, honestly, for the first time. They admitted something they have never said out loud before. They said it is exhausting pretending you do not matter. They talked about the conflict inside them, their mind telling them to stay careful, to stay guarded. But their soul has been calling your name from the beginning, and they cannot ignore it anymore. They admitted they tried to replace you, tried to find your energy in other people, your warmth, your presence, your way of being, but nothing matched. Nothing even came close. Everything else felt temporary, like it was missing something, and that something was you. Then their voice shifted, softer, more real. I tried to convince myself it was just a phase. I told myself maybe I was just lonely, but every time I try to move away, something pulls me back to them. That moment. That was the crack. The moment everything started breaking open. Because after that, they could not hold it in anymore. They started talking about the nights. The nights they could not sleep. The nights where everything felt heavy for no reason. The same nights you felt something too. Those moments where you felt a presence or a sudden emotion you could not explain. That was them fighting themselves, trying to build distance, trying to create space, not realizing you were already inside their world. And then the conversation went somewhere deeper, somewhere most people never go. They started talking about your flaws, the things you are insecure about, the parts of yourself you try to hide, the things you think make you too much or too complicated. But the way they described those things, it was not criticism. It was not doubt. It was appreciation. They said something that completely changed the energy in that room. They think they are broken, but they do not realize that is where the light comes in. The person listening to them was shocked, because they had never seen them like this before. No ego, no pride, just truth, raw, unfiltered truth. They admitted they have been watching you, not in a controlling way, in a quiet, protective way, seeing how you move through life, how you keep going even when things hurt, how you keep your heart open even after everything. And honestly, that scares them, because it shows them something real. It shows them how much they could lose if they do not step up. And then they said something else, something even deeper. I have been waiting to feel ready for them, but I am starting to realize they have already been everything I needed this whole time. And that is when everything changed. By now, the energy in that room had completely shifted. What started as a simple conversation had turned into something deeper, heavier, more real than either of them expected. There was a silence again, but this time it was not confusion. It was build-up. The kind of silence that happens right before someone finally tells the truth they have been holding back for a long time. Your soulmate took a slow breath, not a normal breath. The kind someone takes when they know there is no going back after what they say next, and then they looked at the person sitting across from them. No walls, no mask, no pretending. They were done hiding. They started talking about the very first time they felt something with you. At first, they had brushed it off, told themselves it was just attraction, just chemistry, just a moment. But today they admitted it was something else, something older, something deeper. They described a moment, a small one, the kind of moment you probably do not even remember. Maybe it was the way you looked at them, or something simple you said. But in that moment, something clicked. And today they finally understood what it was. They said, I realized something today. I have not been getting to know them. I have been remembering them. Let that sink in, not discovering, remembering, like your soul was not new to them, just familiar, that feeling. That is what scared them, not you, but how deeply you affected them, because it was not surface level. It was not temporary. It was something they could not control. And then came the question, the one that forced everything out. The person they were talking to asked, so, what are they to you really? Just a friend, a possibility, what? And for a second everything paused, like the world itself was waiting. They did not answer immediately. They just sat there feeling everything at once. And then they said it, not crush, not someone special, not even love. They used a word that carries weight. They said, they are my home. Home, not a place, not something physical, something you feel. They did not stop there. They explained it. They said, in a world where everything feels temporary, where people come and go, where nothing ever feels stable, you are the only place where everything finally settles. They said, when I am with them or even just thinking about them, everything in my head goes quiet. No noise, no overthinking, no searching. For the first time, I do not feel like I need to be anywhere else. Think about that. Out of everything in their life, you are the place they stop running. You are where they rest. You are where they feel safe. And then they went even deeper. They started talking about the parts of you that you struggle with. Your anxiety, your overthinking, the way you sometimes pull away because you are scared of getting hurt. They did not ignore those things. They saw them, clearly. And instead of judging them, they loved them. They said, I love the parts of them that they are still trying to forgive. I love their mess just as much as their light, because even in their chaos, they are more real than anyone I have ever known. That moment, that changed everything, because now this was not just about feelings, this was acceptance, complete acceptance. They admitted they have seen you at your lowest, felt your energy when you were struggling, and instead of pulling away, it made them want to come closer. They realized something powerful today. They do not want perfect. They want real. And to them, you are the realest thing they have ever felt. Then came the turning point, the final shift. The person they were talking to asked, "If they are home, what are you going to do about it?" And this time there was no pause, no hesitation, no overthinking. They looked straight ahead and said, "I am done being the reason they feel alone. I am going to show them they do not have to carry everything by themselves anymore." That was not just a statement, that was a decision, a real one. They admitted their silence was a mistake, not because they did not care, but because they were scared of something this real. But today that fear lost, because they finally understood something. You are never ready for something this deep, you just choose it. And they did. They said, "I am done looking for a way out. Every path I have taken just led me back to them." By the end of that conversation, everything had changed. What started as confusion ended as certainty. They did not just talk about you today, they claimed you. They accepted what you are to them. You are not an option. You are not a phase. You are not temporary. You are home. After that moment, after they said they are my home, something changed, not just in them, but in everything around them, because words like that do not just disappear into the air. They move, they echo, they trigger something bigger, and that is exactly what happened. The energy in that room shifted completely. What started as hesitation turned into clarity. What started as confusion turned into direction, and your soulmate felt it immediately. They started talking about something they could not ignore anymore. The signs, the patterns, the things that kept pulling them back to you no matter how far they tried to go. They admitted something that honestly they did not even want to believe at first. They said, "It is like the universe will not let me forget them. Everywhere I go, there is something that reminds me of them." Your name showing up randomly. Songs playing at the exact moment they were thinking about you. Little coincidences that did not feel like coincidences anymore. And then the numbers. 11, 11, 222. The kind of things people usually ignore, but not them, not anymore, because now they are paying attention. They said, "It feels like something is guiding me back. Like this is not something I can just walk away from." And then they opened up about something even deeper, something most people do not talk about, the connection between you beyond the physical. They talked about moments where they felt your emotions, out of nowhere, a sudden heaviness in their chest, a random wave of sadness, or even a sense of calm that did not match what was happening around them. And then they realized it was not random, it was you. They said, "There was a night I felt them, I knew they were not okay. And even though I did not reach out, I stayed up thinking about them, sending them love in whatever way I could." That connection, you felt it too. You just did not have the explanation for it, but now you do, because what you share is not surface level, it never was. And that is why this moment matters so much, because today they finally understood something. This is not just a feeling, it is a calling. They started talking about timing, about how before they were not ready, not mature enough, not grounded enough, too distracted, too guarded. And because of that, they created distance, not because they did not care, but because they did not know how to handle something this real. But today that changed. They said, "I think we both needed time to become who we are supposed to be, and now I am ready." That word ready, that is the shift, because now they are not running anymore. They are not avoiding anymore. They are not questioning anymore. They see it clearly. They even started describing a future, not a maybe, not a what if, a real one. They talked about simple things, waking up, sharing space, feeling peace just being near you. They said, "I am tired of fighting this. Everything keeps leading me back to them. Every road, every decision, it all points to one place, to them." And then they realized something even deeper, something that changed how they see you and themselves. They realized the things they were afraid of in you were actually reflections of things they had not faced in themselves. And by speaking about you today, they did not just express feelings. They healed something. They let go of guilt. They let go of fear. They forgave themselves for the distance they created. And in doing that, they cleared the path back to you. Then they said something that you need to hear clearly. I used to think I needed someone to complete me, but now I realize they do not complete me. They make me want to become better on my own so I can be better for them. That is not dependency. That is growth. That is real connection. They also talked about your impact, how just being around you changes them, how your presence makes them feel like they can be more than who they have been. They are starting to understand you are not just someone they love. You are someone who transforms them. And then the most important part of all this, they made a decision, not a someday decision, not a maybe later decision, a real one. They said, the silence between us, it is done. It served its purpose, but I am not staying there anymore. That silence, it was never the end. It was a phase, a transformation, and now that phase is over. They said, I have been waiting for a sign, but now I realize they are the sign. Their existence is enough. I do not need anything else to move forward. That is it. That is the moment everything locks in, because now they are not waiting anymore. They are moving. And before the conversation ended, they said something quietly, almost to themselves, but it matters a lot. They said, I am coming back to them. I hope they feel it. And right now you probably do. That shift, that calm, that strange sense of knowing, like something is about to happen. That is not your imagination. That is alignment. Because what started as a conversation is turning into action. By the time that conversation came to an end, there was no confusion left, no doubt, no hesitation. Your soulmate was not sitting there questioning anything anymore. They were clear. For the first time in a long time, everything inside them felt aligned. They looked ahead, not physically, but mentally, emotionally. And something inside them settled. All the noise that used to hold them back gone. All the fear that made them run fatting. All the excuses they used to hide behind. They did not matter anymore. Because now they understood something. This is not something they can ignore. This is not something they can replace. And this definitely is not something they can lose. So they said something. Something that marked the real beginning. Not of feelings, but of action. They said, I have been waiting for a sign, but I realize now I am the one who has to be the sign. Think about that. They are not waiting anymore. They are not sitting back hoping things magically fix themselves. They have decided to move, to step forward, to close the distance. And then they started talking about you again, but this time differently, not from a place of confusion, from a place of intention. They said they do not want to come back with excuses. They do not want to give you empty words or temporary effort. They want to come back differently, stronger, clearer, real. They said, I want to be someone they can finally relax around. I want them to feel safe with me, not like they always have to be strong. That right there is growth. That is someone who finally understands what you needed all along. They are not just thinking about you anymore. They are preparing for you, preparing to show up in a way they never did before, because now they know what you are to them, and what they almost lost. But listen carefully, because this part matters just as much. This is not only about them. It is about you too. While they were talking about you today, they were also feeling you, your energy, your openness or your resistance. Because whether you realize it or not, you are part of this shift. If your heart stays closed, if you stay stuck in past pain, they will feel that, not in words, but in energy. But if you start softening, even a little, if you allow yourself to believe that maybe, just maybe, this is real, that creates space. A pull. Something they can move toward, because you are not just waiting in this story. You are co-creating it. They recognized your worth today. Now it is your turn to recognize it too. They called you home, but you have to start feeling like one within yourself, not because of them, but because it is who you are. And as you sit with this, you might feel something shift inside you. A calm, a knowing, like you do not need to chase anymore, like something is already on its way. That is not coincidence, that is alignment, because before they ended their day, they looked at something that reminded them of you. Maybe your name, maybe your photo, maybe just a memory, and they said something quietly but with certainty. I am choosing them, not because I am lonely, not because I am tired, but because they are the only one who truly understands me. I am coming back to them. Let that sit with you, not as hope, but as truth, because what was spoken today was not temporary, it was not random, it was real, and now it is moving toward you. So take a deep breath and let go of the how. Let go of the when. That part is not yours to control. Your only role right now is to be ready to receive, to believe that you are not too much, not too complicated, not too late. You are exactly who you are meant to be, and exactly who someone has finally realized they need. This is not the end of your story. This is the moment it finally starts making sense. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not second choice. You are the destination. You are the answer. You are home. And now they are finding their way back. Amen. Not just a word to end a prayer, a seal, a confirmation, a declaration that everything you have just read is true, is real, and is happening, not because you wished for it, not because you forced it, because it is time. Because the waiting has served its purpose, because the silence has broken, because the words that were spoken about you today were not casual, they were not fleeting, they were not spoken into empty air, they were spoken into the fabric of your shared destiny, and the universe heard, and heaven took note, and something shifted. You are not the same person who began reading this message. Something has settled in you, a knowing, a peace, a quiet certainty that you cannot explain but can no longer deny. That is not imagination. That is alignment. That is the energy of their words finally reaching the place in you that has been waiting to receive them. The conversation happened. The words were spoken. The decision was made. They are no longer hiding. They are no longer running. They are no longer waiting for a sign that will never come because they have realized that you are the sign, your existence, your presence. The simple, undeniable fact that you are here, that you are real, that you are the one who has been calling to them from across the distance. That is the sign. That has always been the sign. And now they are moving, not planning to move, not hopping to move, moving. The decision is behind them, the fear is fading, the hesitation is crumbling, and the momentum that has been building in the shadows, in the silence, in the spaces between your worlds is finally breaking into the light. What comes next is not yours to force. It is not yours to control. It is not yours to figure out. What comes next is yours to receive, to welcome, to allow, to trust. So trust. Trust that the words spoken about you today were real. Trust that the shift you feel inside you is not your imagination. Trust that the pull you have been sensing, the restlessness, the knowing, the sense that something is about to happen, is the signal that the distance is closing. Trust that the person who called you home is finding their way back, not because you chased them, because they finally stopped running. And while you wait, while the how and the when remain unclear, do not shrink. Do not close your heart to protect yourself from what you have been praying for. Do not let fear talk you out of believing that this could be real. Stay open, stay soft, stay ready, not desperate, not obsessed, just open, like a door that has been unlocked, like a window that has been cracked, like a heart that has decided that it is safer to risk being hurt than to live one more day in the cold of its own protection. You are ready. You have always been ready. The readiness was not about becoming someone else. It was about returning to yourself, the self that knows what it wants, the self that knows what it deserves, the self that knows that love is not something to be afraid of but something to be honored. They called you home today, but home is not a place you go. Home is a feeling you carry, and you have been carrying it all along, not because of them, because of who you are. Because of the light that has always been in you, even on the days when you could not see it. Because of the way you love, the way you stay, the way you keep hopping even when hopping has hurt you before. You are home, not to them, to yourself, and that is the foundation upon which everything else will be built. So breathe, let the truth settle, let the knowing deepen, let the fear release. Something has already begun, something that cannot be stopped. something that has been written long before either of you knew to look for it. The silence is over, the waiting is done, the words have been spoken, and they are finding their way back to you. Not because you are lucky, because you are loved, not because you are perfect, because you are real, not because you finally got it right, because you never gave up. And neither did they. Go in peace. You are not forgotten, you are not overlooked, you are not second choice, you are the destination, you are the answer, you are home. And now they are finding their way back. Amen.